Well, if you live in the Boise, Idaho area or you've been following current events here, you know we've had one heck of a smoky summer. Much of the smoke was from fires that blew in from other states, but right now our smoke is from a large fire in the mountains about 3 hours away from here. So while some of our forests have been on fire, was the summer Boise housing market just as hot? And has the smoke we've had this summer affected buyers in our market? I can tell you one thing is for sure that's heating up, and that is the interest in future home sellers trying to figure out when is the best time to sell. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Summer Aston, a realtor in the beautiful Boise, Idaho area, and let's dive into these questions and more as I give you a recap of the Boise summer housing market, and I'll tell you what we expect heading into the fall. While our smoky summer did not slow down our summer housing market, in fact, July of this year, we saw the highest number of home sales since June of 2022. And while our market did not crash at all this year, as many clickbait doomsdayers were predicting, the median sales price for Ada County in July of 2024 was $545,000, which is up only 0.5% from July of 2023. I've said it before and I'll say it again, that number does not mean that the home price has stayed the same or declined. It means that more homes closer to the median home selling prices were selling. And of course, that is due to our interest rates that have stayed between about 6.8% to 7.3% for most of the summer, keeping affordability of more expensive homes out of reach for most people. Larger tract home builders selling homes closer to that median price point have kept their incentives to help buy the rate down all summer long, and those incentives largely kept the lower priced new construction home market slowly burning through the summer. New construction inventory is up 21% year over year, but new construction sales are also up nearly 27% year over year. Other home builders who work on a smaller scale and build semi-custom homes had either no incentives or maybe a small incentive like a 1% credit towards closing costs, and mostly they just slowed down their production of spec homes and sold to those who can pay for build jobs. And even though our housing inventory has been steadily rising over the last 6 months, in fact, our resale housing inventory is up 17% year over year. Our resale home inventory is also down 1.2% month over month this month. We are seeing more resale homes come on the market, but the number of resale homes sold is also up 19.2% year over year. So rising inventory, yes, but the rising amount of sales has kept pace, putting us at about a 2.7 month supply of inventory, which overall statistically leans towards being a seller's market still. However, whether the Boise housing market is experiencing a seller's or a buyer's market completely depends on which micro market you are buying or selling in. We're actually in a pretty normal market, with some homes selling for multiple offers over asking, some homes taking a month or so to sell. In fact, the median days on market in July was 36 days, and other homes sitting for longer and having price reductions. And the reasons for these different categories are pretty typical too, with the homes that sell quickly being the ones that are prepared properly, they show amazing, and they're priced right, while the ones that sit and have price reductions are homes that were not properly prepared, or they're overpriced, or they have a negative factor like they back to a busy road. But we are still experiencing something that has not been typical, and that is those move-up type family homes that are priced above the median price, and they're taking longer to sell, and they're seeing the most price reductions due to the lack of affordability with those high rates, and homeowners who need to upsize, they can't give up their low rate to move into a bigger house with a higher rate. And of course, that means that most of the homes that have the most demand and chance for multiple offers are those single-story homes that are priced well, properly prepared, and they will get snatched up by cash buyers or those who can put down a larger amount. We have been seeing interest rates drop this past few weeks, and on Friday, August 30th, they were averaging about 6.5% for a 30-year conventional loan, and this has caused a small uptick in buyers coming into the market. But what it has caused more of is all the sellers that are sitting on the sideline feeling more optimistic about the rates dropping more through the fall and trying to plan a good time to sell. So I've had a few clients just this past week reach out to me about advice on the best time to sell now that the rates are trending down. And these are not people who want to sell to leave the state, but they're people who want to sell for typical upsizing or downsizing reasons, and they felt like they couldn't do it until rates got lower. So of course, if you are thinking of selling, please reach out to us for a consultation, as having some time to prepare and figure out what is best for your personal situation is always the best course of action. But here is some general counsel for you potential sellers out there. Now, this counsel is more specific for our Boise housing market history, but much of it may apply to you if you're thinking of selling in a different state as well. Boise has a good fall housing market, and we typically have an uptick in demand through about the end of October, and things do slow through the holidays and early winter. However, buyers during those seasons tend to be very motivated, and there is usually less inventory to choose from. But in general, homes in the Boise area sell for the least amount in the dead of winter, and they sell for the most amount in late March to early April. So it could be beneficial if you are making your decision to sell only on when you can sell for the most money to plan for an early spring sale. However, we have a few big unknowns going on right now. Well, I think we can confidently say that from now through November, things will stay the course with a steady stream of buyers, slightly rising inventory, and possibly slightly lowering interest rates. I don't think the rates will lower enough between now and November to cause the flames to ignite and the Boise housing market to catch fire. When our rates were rising, we saw a big slowdown in buyers once the rates went above 6%. So I think they need to go back to the mid 5% before we see more affordability, buyers and sellers return. But of course, the big unknown is this election coming up and how the fallout of that will affect rates, buyer and seller sentiment, and what new policies that will affect the housing market, if any, would be put into place prior to next spring's housing market. So I am not going to try to predict if, based on potential rates and potential demand alone, next spring could be a better time for you to sell than this fall. However, I do know that with so many sideline sellers pent up and trapped by their interest rates in their homes, many will be trying to sell next spring if the rates are lower. So of course, that will create more inventory, but of course, there are many buyers sitting on the sidelines waiting for rates to drop so they can jump in as well. And whether or not the rising demand is greater than the rising inventory would determine if those home prices will rise next spring as well. So for this reason, besides the retired cash buyer clientele we've had this year, the next largest group of buyers we've helped this summer has been people who can afford to make a higher payment with the higher rates. I mean, they certainly don't want to, but they can afford it. And then their game plan is to refinance when rates go lower. With the theory being that they got the house at a potentially better price this year, and they won't have to deal with more competition next year if the rates lower, and then they can refinance if the rates lower. And I'm actually betting on this theory too. I bought an investment property this year, and I will refinance when the rates drop. But will rates drop enough by spring to stoke the flames and start another smoking hot Boise housing market wildfire like we had a few years ago? Well, I guess we'll find out. If you want to follow along with more video updates about the Boise housing market or videos all about the Treasure Valley area, make sure you subscribe. And if you are looking to buy or sell in the Boise, Idaho area, please reach out to us through our website at summerastonrealestate.com. You can find tons of information there, a free relocation guide. You can sign up for our monthly newsletter, and of course, you can always follow us on Instagram as well. Have a super day, and I'll see you next time.